This is very, very terrible. When I go live on StreamYard, it is bright. When I don't go through StreamYard and I go directly through YouTube, it's dark. Why? Same camera, different website, and it's dark. So weird. So disappointing. Hmm. Is there any way to make it brighter? I mean, how does how does StreamYard do it? How are they able to do it? What do they do to make everything bright? Why? How are they able to do that? How are they able to do that? I don't understand this. Uh, this is very distracting. I didn't. I mean, I guess I knew. I knew about this. I mean, I did know about it. I mean, I just forgot about it. But it's been a while. Wanted to go live. There was other things that I was doing, and working on the usual stuff. And there's so many things to talk about, and things that I want to talk about. And there are people talking on live on which live? This live, that live, no, the other live, TikTok, of course. What am I saying? I was listening to myself in a live stream. It was terrible. I mean, I was listening to my last live stream, my last 6 hour long stream. I used up all my hours on StreamYard, my free um, amount that I get for free. They give you about 20 hours for free a month in the free plan, on the free plan. The store. The store. I I'm only pretending to stream at the moment. Not really streaming. I'm only pretending to stream, and I'm watching Criminal Minds and thinking about that. Thinking about how the cops were doing a wellness check. I think that was stupid and not legal. Some people are like, well, that's totally fine, and sometimes you just gotta do it. And I understand that it might help. It might help, but technically, it's not a good idea. Legally, it shouldn't be allowed. Constitutionally, what do you do when your phone dies? Uh, why are you asking? What kind of question is that? Please tell me more about your question if it's a real question. I don't know if it's a real question or not. I was just gonna rant about a few things and have a few disclaimers. I think that YouTube is pretty good at doing a transcript of the audio. I was looking at it, and it made some mistakes, but it did get some of it okay. Like I was able to look at the transcript and read it, and I did a recap video with the transcript that it did. It does it for the subtitles and the closed captioning, and it made a lot of mistakes, but it did get some of the words, and I was able to read some of the words, and I think it's beneficial, even though it has a lot more to go. How much confetti? Why confetti? Um, is there there could be a lot of confetti. There's probably confetti everywhere. Why do you want to know? What kind of questions are these? What kind of questions? What kind of questions? What's going on? There's a lot on my mind, and I'm watching Criminal Minds and the 1902, and I wasn't going to. I wasn't going to. Oh, is that her brother or something? Oh, okay. They're doing a thing in this Criminal Minds episode where they have a crazy person who is talking to them, and they're basically trying to say this guy is crazy because he asks too many questions and he's probably on the right politically. And they do this in a lot of stuff, a lot of movies and shows where they try to make the people on the right look crazy, and they rarely do it for the other side. And you see this in Hollywood where they try to attack the goddamn conservatives because they're like, that's the only way we can win. We'll just attack them in all the movies and the music and the shows. Don't take my word for it. Hello, Cherry. I was listening to my voice and I was like, oh man, it's terrible. How does anybody stand me? I can't even stand it. I can't even stand it. I can stand it sometimes, sometimes, but sometimes I cannot. And then the way that like I'm watching myself sometimes, and I notice sometimes I'm looking down, not up. I'm looking down. I'm looking down. My head is down. I'm not looking up. I'm looking down. I'm looking down. My head is down. My eyes are down. Maybe not this much, but a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes, Jesus, do you know Zach? Zach. But oh man, it's so dark. So dark in here. Sometimes I'm just like I'm just I'm watching my video. I'm watching my sometimes I'm watching my videos, I'm like, what in the world? What in the world? Because my eyes are down and it should be like going up, going towards the camera or at least going up a little bit. And then there's the microphone and that's a problem. That's a problem. But I was watching Friday Night Tights and I thought they were what's the word I'm looking for? They were talking about, let's see. They were talking about one of the movies, what is it? Silent Wars, Big War, Giant War, one of those uh superhero movies that's coming out that's supposed to come out at the end of the year, right? December 2026. Another, what is it? Not the not end games because we already did the end game. So the super duper end game, the end game. Infinity Wars, no. Super Infinity Wars, no. I think what do they call it? The Silent War, the Invisible War. Is that what they call it? The Invisible War, and they were talking about that and they're ripping it to pieces because that's what they got to do. It's a little bit interesting, but at the same time, it's probably gonna have some problems. But they were noting some interesting things like the uniforms, like the Wolverine uniform probably looks like the cartoon version, and they're talking about how the actors are so old and they're playing the characters because they don't have anybody else. They probably don't have anybody else. I like seeing old people if they're good, and I like coming back, and I like reunions, but at the same time, it is it is um, you want new people. You want new people. You don't want just like an old person playing a superhero. It's a little bit depressing. I mean, it might be interesting, especially if it's somebody if it's somebody like Clint Eastwood, John Wayne, or somebody intriguing. But outside of that, it's probably not gonna work. Rose, Nathan with the rose, fresh and clean, and then they like you over here. Uh, over here. Why? What's going on here? What's up, bro? What's up? Somebody's asking me a question. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what that's all about. I don't know what you're trying to say. Would you rather gain muscles or something else? Ooh, I don't know. You gotta tell me. You gotta tell me. Uh, I wanted to do some disclaimers, even though the quality of this video is terrible on YouTube, and it's so bad. I feel like I don't even want to stream anymore. It's so dark. Is there a way to make it brighter? Why does it have to be so dark? Why does YouTube have to do that? Why do you have to do that to me, YouTube? Why? What is it? What is the meaning of this? Why does it have to be so bad? 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 Why does it have to be? Can you say my friend's name? Why? Why does it have to be so bad? Why does it have to be so bad? We're doing one of these episodes where the guy is talking to somebody and he's having a panic attack, like a flashback moment where like he remembers something from his time in the military and he's remembering that and it's surfacing again, almost like a Dexter Morgan moment where it's surfacing all of a sudden, which is something that happens. But why do they have to make a big deal about it? I, I understand that it is a big deal, but at the same time, there might be a better way to talk about it. There might be, but I understand it is a problem. I'm not gonna say that it's not a problem, but at the same time, when they present it, when they try to represent this stuff, like the military and the veterans, all these things, all these people, all these problems, PTSD, all these different things, when they talk about this stuff, it's probably propaganda. Probably a little bit of propaganda in there, and it's a little bit disappointing. Bop boopy doop bop boopy doop boo. Oh man. Welcome to another episode of Oatmeal Live, Oatmeal World. Disclaimer. All my stuff is full of typos, and when I'm talking, nobody can understand me because I'm really bad at talking because I'm always mumbling and stuff. And stuff. A lot of times a lot of times I'm just mumbling and stuff. Even though I was an English teacher, I might still be. And I was in Vietnam. How in the world, you might be wondering, how in the world did I do that? If I'm mumbling, if I'm just mumbling, how is anybody gonna understand? How am I supposed to help people if I'm always mumbling? I don't know. I don't know. Any more questions? Oh yeah, I was gonna talk about a few things. One of the things I was gonna talk about was what people say, what some of the people say. Oh my, he had a screwdriver in somebody's nose, and oh no, and so some of the things that people have been saying about me. I mean, I'm writing it down in my I created a new log. One of them, number one, people say that I'm a mouth breather. True. And I gotta figure that out. But you know, it's difficult with allergies and stuff. Allergies, a stuffed nose, and other problems. What am I gonna do? Hold on, let me breathe out of my nose. How am I supposed to talk and breathe out of my nose at the same time? Hello, hello, hello. Ooh, it's so much work. I don't think I can do it. I think I can just. I want to just go back to breathing out of my mouth again. Feel like it's so. I just want to be a mouth breather. Oh, number two. What's the other thing that they say about me? Number two. Um, Number two is I have no chin. Okay, thank you. Number three, I have autism, probably, or not. Who knows? Allegedly, maybe. At least I act like I do. Number four, I probably got bipolar ism and all the other isms, especially because I have no chin. I gotta buy one at Walmart. Okay, got that. Okie dokie. Uh, what do you think about that? It's so dark, man. This is so depressing. Okay. Note to myself: don't use the YouTube website ever again. Is the audio not working? Oh man, I don't know what's going on here. Is the audio not working that well? I'm not to listen to myself. I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm gonna go to my YouTube channel. I'm gonna try to listen to myself. Listen to myself. Listen to myself. Hello? The audio's okay. And the video is it's not as dark as what it looks like in the back end. The back end. What I see on YouTube when I'm streaming through YouTube directly without StreamYard, directly through YouTube, it looks dark. Looks really, really, really dark. Looks really dark. Looks so dark. Not but then I watch myself live right now. Right now, I'm watching myself live on the TV. Thank you, Samsung. Samsung TV. Samsung. No, Samsung. 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 No, like, doesn't sound like I'm saying it right, but I look at it and it's brighter than what I see in the back end. The front end is better than the back end, so it's like, how am I supposed to trust what I see? It looked really dark, but I'm watching myself and it's not that dark. Actually, mm, I do look pretty bad. I don't like my beard. My beard, it making me look like a hobo. Not a hobo. Not a hobo. You're a hobo. I'm not a hobo. Okay. Well, yep. There's a lot of things always wanna say, but, yeah. Yeah. Yep. 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 Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. Ba boo boo boo. Oatmeal. No, what does that sound like? What do I sound like? Oatmeal. 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 Oatmeal eats oatmeal. 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 Bishop. Oatmeal. 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 Oatmeal eats oatmeal. 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 Oatmeal eats oatmeal. Oatmeal. Party in my Discord, everybody. Everybody, party in my Discord. I'll probably make you a mod or an admin or something, right? And then you could be a mod here too. Oatmeal, 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 oatmeal eats oatmeal, 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 oatmeal eats oatmeal, oatmeal. Oh, 1,000 likes. Wow. Oatmeal, oatmeal. Why so many likes? Who did all the liking? Raise your hand. Uh oh. Flashback. The Aladdin guy. There's an Aladdin guy in every show that I watched. This Aladdin guy is like, what? My brother? There's a tumor? My what? My wife? My sister? My wife? My wife? A tumor? How much time does he have left? Luke? Oh, that she's in a lot of pain. Ah, he's having a hard time doing that. Oh, Luke. Oh, having a flashback. Oh, having a hard time dealing with the cat that stole my bike. Luke, they're starting to notice. Luke, they're starting to notice. Oatmeal, 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 oatmeal. Eat oatmeal, 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 oatmeal. Eat oatmeal, 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 oatmeal. No, not the found. Name 04 says I love you. Really? Look, my face. Look at my face. Guy, look at my face. I look like an egg. How can anybody? I mean, egg looks. I mean, egg tastes pretty good. Scrambled egg is really good. Scrambled egg, but I'm oatmeal. Oatmeal. Oatmeal eats scrambled eggs in the morning. Oatmeal. Oatmeal. Thank you for the follow. Not found. Not found is found. Not found is found. Not found is found. Not found is found. Uh-oh. Guy having a difficulty. Ooh, he's somebody in the military. What's up, boo boo doo? He's a veteran, and he's in a wheelchair, and he's having a moment, like a PTSD moment. Autism and PTSD are related, they say, allegedly. Oatmeal, 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 oatmeal. Eat oatmeal, oatmeal. Oatmeal, 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 eat oatmeal. Wow. How am I supposed to organize hundreds to thousands of photos? Hundreds? Thousands of photos? Oh, he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to continue, so he looks at Luke, his friend, probably a fellow soldier, as a they're both veterans, and he's like, you gotta, I don't want to do, I can't do this anymore. Hmm. Oatmeal, 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 oatmeal. Eat oatmeal, 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 oatmeal. Eat oatmeal, 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 oatmeal. Ooh yeah. I might. I'm gonna think about doing another recap of the live later on tomorrow, probably. I don't know if it's valuable or anything, but I'm thinking about doing it. And I think it's kind of crazy, like the stuff that happened. Like it seemed like it's crazy how like think about the things that happens when people go after you, when people go after you and they try to come up with stuff. You know what I've said. You know what I've said so many times. You know what I've been saying. You know what I've been saying, everybody. You know what I've said so many times for so many years. You know what I said. You know what I said, guys. Remember what I said? I'm like, guys. You know what you got to do? You got to stop making goddamn AI stuff of me. Stop doing it. And I've been saying that for years and years. People taking me out of context and people pretending to be me, people posting as me, people using my profile picture, people using my avatar, people using my display name because they're like on some websites, different websites, probably, probably. Like, no, I've seen it. I've seen it many times, you know? I, s- I've seen it. And I try to show you. I try to show you sometimes. I try to show you guys. Remember that, guys? I try to show you. I'm like, look at this. Why they do that? Why they do that? Why they do that, guys? Why they do that? You know? You ever wonder about that? You ever wonder about that? Why they do that? Why they do that to people like me and you? They do that to a lot of people. Try to pretend to be them. They try to pretend they really pretend they're really they try to fool people and they really do fool people. And they do this stuff and they do the parody, the oatmeal parody accounts and all this goddamn oatmeal fake news and they screenshot and clickbait and they do all this stuff. They do the sound biting and the screen biting, not a screen bite. What is a screen bite? Screenshot, screenshotting and the sound biting and the clickbaiting and the all the other stuff, all the other stuff, all the other things. They do all these things. They did all this stuff. Sometimes, sometimes they do this stuff. Oh no. The podcaster dude is gonna interview the what you call it man, the main villain of Criminal Minds' last few seasons. Oatmeal, and Sicarius. Okay, the conspiracy man is talking to Sicarius. Ha ha ha! He says hello. Uh, mm. Criminal Minds is doing this thingamabobber where they're like, "Oh yeah, the government never involved. They never allow anything. Like they're never like." Am I allowed to say? What am I allowed to say? Osama bin Laden. Do you know? Did you know he had another name? I really don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this on YouTube or TikTok because sometimes they have a lot of crazy rules. They have a lot of crazy rules. Did you know his name was Tim Osman? Did you know that? Guys, did you know that? Guys, did you know that? So basically what's happening on Criminal Minds is there's this podcaster and he's like he told lies about the killer and Sicarius. So Sicarius comes in and does an interview and says, "How dare you say the government trained me?" And it's kind of stupid, but I mean it's true for the story that the government in this case didn't do it. But it's almost it's like it's propaganda. Again, it's propaganda. Hey daddy. It's propaganda. It's propaganda in a way because it's basically it's trying to say, oh yeah, the government never does anything. They never they're never involved or they don't sit back and allow things to happen or they don't indirectly fund things. Don't take my word for it. Don't take my word for it. All right. Don't take my word for it. All right. Mm. I'm trying to properly review this episode, and mm, they may have done an episode like this before some years ago. I'm trying to remember, but it was a little bit different, probably. Mm. So he's like, hey, podcaster, I have an idea. I have an idea. I have a great idea, podcaster man. How about you do a pivot for your podcast and say, hey, how about this guy is just a serial killer instead of being trained by the government? And the podcaster is like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a great idea. Not really a good idea. No, terrible idea. What do you want with me? What do you want with me? What do you want with me? What do you want? What do you want? What you watching? Well, what am I watching? Criminal Minds. I'm not doing out of minutes on the StreamYard, so I cannot display comments. It's too bad YouTube does not have a way to do that. It's so unfortunate. What do you want with me? What do you want with me? What do you want with me? True Detective. I'm. I may have seen True Detective some years ago. I was trying to watch it. I didn't really get into it. I might try again. Yeah, I'm probably gonna. I might be conflating True Detective with a few other shows, but I will probably try again. But I have a long list of things I want to watch. I remember wanting to watch Criminal Minds and trying to catch up with all the episodes, and I think it's pretty worth it. I mean, Criminal Minds is like one of my favorites, and I'm almost caught up with all the episodes of Criminal Minds. And what's going on here? Wow, it's almost the end of the episode already. What the world? Why does this look like a flashback? That's weird. Not a flashback. What do you want with me? Hmm. Oh my. Oh my. What else is going on in the world? Hmm. It's you say that it's worth it. It's your favorite for the best crime show ever. The Wire. The Wire. Have I ever seen The Wire? I'm not sure. I don't think I've ever. I'll probably write this down. I'll write it down on my watch list. Okay. The Wire. So I'm supposed to watch The Wire, and then I'm supposed to watch True Detective. I remember you. I remember you. I remember you. I can fix you. That's what you said. It's a remake. The re is sorry. It's remarkably good. Okay. I can fix you. You lied. Oh my. Hmm. It takes a bit of time to get infested, but once you're hooked, you'll thank me. Hmm. I might. Hmm. Hmm. Oh my. There's a man with the other man with a knife in a house, and the FBI is coming into the house, breaking in to try to stop them. Looks like they're both veterans. Hmm. Hmm. I don't think a lot of veterans would do this. I'm sure there's some. But do you really have to make an episode talking about this? Very, very unrealistic. But then again, that is what entertainment's all about. It's all about things that might not be realistic. So I guess it's okay. It might be okay. Hmm. Uh, hmm. Criminal Minds. Ooh, ooh. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Oatmeal Joey Arnold is here streaming again. He's streaming again. He's barely getting it through. Getting it through. Getting through. Getting it through? Getting it through what? Hmm. Nobody knows. Nobody remembers what is the context, they say. They always say that. They've been saying that for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. It's always the same words, the same thing, the same stuff, again and again, and again, and again, and again. What do you say? Uh, Veterans have some of the worst mental health support. It's true. They do, and that is a problem. But at the same time, they shouldn't have been out there in the first place. I mean, it's good to help them because it's good to help people, but it's also good to not start a problem in the first place. And that is the issue that we have right now with being pressured into Iran and the draft being extended. It's being extended right now to the age of about 42 or so at the moment. They've been trying to extend the age of the draft in America and other countries too, and they don't have enough because Iran has a pretty big active army of about 1 million people, and they have a few million in reserve, and Iran has a lot of allies like China and Russia, and they have millions of people too. And so for America to be trying to face them, it's challenging because of the potential of escalation and fund the vets. You say what do you say? Fund the vets, end the wars, yeah. And Iran is a shit show, but you won't get drafted. Medical history exempts you. No, it doesn't. That's you coming up with a bunch of lies. Okay, Mr. Flopper. Coming up with these lies. Coming up, Mr. Emu, Flopper, Fish, whoever you are. Like, Like, I don't know where you come up with this stuff. Like, you've been saying it for many, many years, just like other people say it sometimes, but it's like you believe it for whatever the reason, but it's not really true. But you do live in another country, so you have no idea how it really, really, really works, even though you really do think you know how it really, 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 really works. But you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Now, it's possible that some people might be exempted, but they would most likely want to re-examine that, and you would have to go through the process, and they would possibly exempt some people, but you never know. You never know. And it's the point of me bringing it up is not about me. But, if you wanna be like a troll or something and be like, "Oh, you don't have to worry about that. That's not gonna affect you. You don't have to worry about that. It's not gonna affect you. Oh, you got a medical exemption because you got problem. Ooh, so you don't get to be patriotic and save America and be a great American," and all that kinda stuff because you got problems. But it's like it's still a problem, like, whether or not I'm involved or not. It's still a big problem because you don't wanna send a lot of people into some kinda death trap. You don't wanna send a lot of people into something like a bunch of mountains, and you got all these caves, and you got a lot of people, and it's so decentralized, and you just wanna do you really wanna spend all this time trying to trying to attack them? Do you really wanna do that? It's not a good idea. And what do you say? You talk about a hearing problem. I don't have a hearing problem anymore. Yeah, war is a problem. War is hell. But I don't really have a lot of problems. I don't really have any problems. Why would you think I have problems? I may have had problems in the past, allegedly, but that doesn't really say a lot because that's just some opinions of some people. They said it a few times in the past, but that was a long time ago. That was like 30 years ago when they said those things. Uh, they're they had the main villain in Criminal Minds. What's his name again? Sicarius. So Sicarius, he's a good actor. So he's been this he's been the main villain, the serial killer who started a network of serial killers. He's been the main villain in Criminal Minds for the last like 4 or 5 years. And right now he's in prison. He's having a conversation with himself, but his mind is split with like yeah, he's basically talking to another one of the guys on the FBI team. Um, and it looks like part of him's thinking about trying to escape. And I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that because he was supposed to be totally redeemed in a way, like like a Darth Vader character. He was supposed to be redeemed in a way and not run away, but part of him seems to be wanting to run away. And I'm not sure if that's a good storyline or not. If they continue this direction, then you would likely see him try to escape, or he'll continue to have this internal struggle. Hmm. Hey, hello. The thing where the modern war is um, it it can never be won, but prolonged. Corporations, um, yeah, they can make billions of yeah, depopulation. Yeah, it's true. How are you? How are you? Better question, how are you? Hmm. Let's see, that's the end of the episode. Oh man, end of the episode. Uh, he's thinking about escaping. Hmm. Oh man. Is anybody curious about all the goddamn oatmeal fake news? No? Okay. I didn't think so. Yep. I didn't think so. Yeah. I thought not. Be da boo doo be doo ba 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 doo be doo be da da doo 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 ba 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 boo boo doo doo boo boo ba 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 boo doo boo boo ba 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 boo ba 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 boo doo boo boo ba 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 boo 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 ba 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 ba. Uh, you say that you like to hear about the fake news. Why do people make it? The same reason why they make it about anybody, about anything. It's the oldest thing since the dawn of time. It's what people do. It's what people do. It started off with I don't know, but one of the stories is there's some kind of goddamn serpent in the goddamn garden, and he's like making up fake news about God, and he's talking to Adam and Eve and Steve. Maybe not Steve. Adam and Lilith. Who's the other one? Lilith. They say there's another one named Lilith. Adam and Lilith. Lil. What's her name? Lilith and Eve. Adam and Eve. Okay, so the goddamn snake, the serpent in the Bible, serpent is talking to Adam and Eve, and he's making up fake news, making up fake news. I mean, it's like partly true, and that's the thing about it. What do we call that? God fake news. Instead of oatmeal, fake news would be like what? Holy fake news. And he's like, you know, did God really say that? What did he say? What did he say again? I should know this. What did he say? That you would surely die. You won't die. You'll become just like him, and you'll know the difference between good and evil. And so that has to do with awareness, like being open to awareness, being self-aware. When you are self-aware, then you might be um, responsible and accountable. Like you might have to um, what's the word I'm looking for? So it's like once you become aware, you're no longer innocent. They say, and so hmm, the serpent was like trying to tempt them, trying to get them to take a step into that world that they'd never been a part of before, and they ended up going to that new world, to that new world. That's what they did. You know what I'm saying? Hmm. Yeah. So it may not say fruit, or it may not say apple. Hmm. So there's a question of what kind of fruit it was in the garden. What was it? Was it an apple? Was it an orange? Was it a banana? Was it something else? Why am I looking down? Man. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm looking down because I'm looking at my phone. Probably why. Probably why. Ah. Ba-boop-be-doop-boom. Hmm. Welcome to another live stream with Oatmeal, where he rumbles and rambles and rants a little bit, mumbling a little bit, saying a few things, talking to a few people a little bit, sometimes sharing his stream, sharing his screen a little bit, sometimes, most of the time, not really. Mm. Mm. Oh my, are they watching another trailer? Uh oh. Uh oh. Is this a trailer for one of those what is that called? What is that called? Lord of the Rings, Ring of Power season 3 teaser. Oh, oh man. I enjoyed doing my reaction videos to the episodes that they did, even though they got problems. I was doing reaction videos to the episodes that Amazon put out for Lord of the Rings, the Ring of Power, the Rings of Power, and now season 3 is coming, and I'm a little bit excited, even though I know that it's gonna have problems like before. It's like one of those things where you love to really, really, really hate something. Like me, as they say, you're a goddamn mouth breather. You have no chin. Stop talking about Kathy taking your bike and your chin. You gotta breathe out of your nose sometimes. So difficult because it's like my nose is always stuffed up and stuff. So many allergies. And it's so time consuming. Oh man, I don't know if I can breathe out of my nose. Oh my. Somebody's trying to get back to who's that? Gladiar? Gladiar? Glo- Who's the main villain? I mean, main hero. Gladiator. Who's that woman? Gladiator. What do you want to say? Fun fact in the nursery rhyme, Humpty Dumpty. If it never said he's an egg, people made him an egg. Originally, he was just some fat dude who fell off a wall and cracked his skull open. That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't really know exactly what the origins of it was because I know that they're based on stuff. These things are based on things, and sometimes not even directly, indirectly. And that's how legends and myths are born. It makes sense. You are a mouth breather, dude? That's mean. Who said that? Who said that? Good, Galley, 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 Galileo, Galil, Galadriel, Galadriel, Galadriel. Why is that so difficult to say? Oh man, so difficult. Let me try to do it again. Galadriel, Galadriel. I had to remember. I couldn't remember what the word was. I, I figured it out. They're still watching the trailer. I am a mouth breather. I mean, I try not to be, but I mean, I don't think I'm always a mouth breather, but I do that sometimes. Maybe most of the time. You want to know who said it? Who doesn't say it? A lot of people have said it because it's true. I got problems. I got a lot of problems. I don't say that I don't have problems. Oh, there's a picture of the two of the people, and then there's like a orc with them, like a good orc, a good orc. It's kind of weird. They're trying to humanize the orc, trying to give them families and the whole modern. Oh, we can't have any bad guys. Everybody has to be good, and like they did that with Moana, where the main villain is not even a villain, not a villain. All these movies and shows, they don't have villains. They don't have villains at all. What do you want with me? Uh, Celtic. Uh, a Celtic inspired name. Names are tough to pronounce. Yes, true. Very, very true. Uh, Hello, Terry. What, you know, why not party in my Discord server? Why don't you want to party in my Discord server? Why don't you want to party in my Discord server? Party in my Discord server, everybody. Watch out for the fake news, everybody. Oatmeal fake news, where they lie about me everywhere, online, on the internet, oh, forever. Last 10 years, 20 years, everybody lie about me. Lie about me. You probably believe the lies. You probably believe the lies. Do you know that? You probably believe the lies. You probably spread the lies. Did you know that? Did you know about that? The rings of power is dog shit. Hate watch if you like, but there are so many better and yeah, better shows, greater shows like The Wire. Okay. Yep. 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 Hello, everybody. I am Oatmeal, Joey Arnold. I'm a failed YouTuber and a failed TikToker and a failed everything else too. But I keep on going. I keep on going. I keep on doing stuff. Even when I don't have a chin. And even though I'm a mouth breather, I still try to leave her. Her? Who's her? Wait a minute. Leave her. I'm a mouth breather. I try to leave her. Who? Kathy? Nah. Guys, what's your favorite oatmeal fake news that you think is totally true? Even though it's totally not true. But you probably do think it's true. Let me know. What a lies, man. You seem like a good guy. What are the lies? Oh, there's so many. There's so many. It's like, where do you begin? And, it's like, how do you even talk about them? How do you talk about the lies about me? Because, like, there could be so many. There probably is so many. There's probably some that I don't even know about. But think about how many there are. If there are 10 or 100, that's a lot. But think about how long it might take just to talk about each one of the goddamn oatmeal fake news, the lies, the defamation, the deception, all that kind of stuff. The lying about me. Imagine how long it takes to address each one, to unpack each one. How long might it take? It might take many hours without a goddamn shower. I'm not a coward. I can't take a shower until I talk about all that power that they think they have, but they don't. But they don't. But imagine how long it might take just to talk about each one. And then they're all interconnected. And so it's like you sort of have to know one with you really got to know one before you could know the other. But then you got to know the other before you know that one, and then the other one, and the other one, and the other one, and the other one. You sort of have to know all of it at the same time to really understand the web, the web of stuff going on, because you kind of have to like you have to follow it and you'd be like, okay, this thing, but then that thing, and then this thing, but then not this thing, but that what this thing, but then that thing, and then you have to connect all the dots and all the people and all the back and forth, all the back and forth. Uh, turn it off. You want me to turn something off, Mr. Wood? You want me to turn something off? So I don't really, I don't really care. I don't really care about it. Doesn't really affect me in a way. I talk about it, but that doesn't mean that I care. I mean, there are reasons why I talk about stuff, but it's not necessarily because I care in that kind of way. I mean, I do sort of care in some ways, or maybe I did, but at this point, I don't really care. I do try to talk about it because I do want there to be a little bit of a counter. But at the same time, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because they're always gonna say what they say about me. They're always gonna lie about me, no matter what, no matter what. So to an extent, it's a waste of my time to even talk about it at all. I talk about it because I feel like it, and I want to, and I want there to be some record somewhere about my opinions, my thoughts, my feelings, my goddamn side of the story that I talk about for many years on all the websites. I try to talk about my side of the story. Ooh, I do try to talk about my side of the story about all this stuff as I try to counter the goddamn oatmeal fake news, and I talk about that sometimes. I do a bad job talking about it, but I do talk about it sometimes. I do talk about it sometimes. I never talk about all of it because it's very difficult, and I try to, but I never get around to doing it all because it's so difficult. But I try to, but I always fail. I always fail. Then people laugh at me and say, "Hey, you failed. You failed. You failed." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I failed. Oh no." And then so there's a part of me that's like, "Okay, I better try harder to talk about it and then have an official statement about it, have official disclaimers. I gotta have official disclaimers and statements and all these different things so that I can point people to it on a website or something, a video or something, maybe everything all in one, all rolled into one. Some websites and web pages and articles and videos that can summarize all of it and give my perspective and stuff in 10 minutes or less, which is very difficult because I could literally talk about this stuff for many hours. You have no idea. And I already did many times in videos and articles and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and Rumble and BitChute and all the websites. I talk about it, bits and pieces. I don't always connect all the dots all at the same time, constantly. Uh, you want me to say hello, Dora and Emma and your other friend? Your other friend? Hello. Hello, Dora. Hello, Emma and your other friend. Starts with the letter N and it rhymes with, I think I know somebody with that name or almost that name. Very similar to that name. So what do you want to say? What do you want to say? Um, you talk about it an awful lot for someone who doesn't care, just curious. Have you tried to disprove any of them? I do all the time, man. And your best bet is to keep it simple, dude. Lay out your side. And that's the challenge. And I have sometimes I do lay it out simply, but it's critical to understand the deeper layers. You gotta understand the deeper layers too at the same time. The same time. And and it's good to know everything in chronological order because I think that kind of sets the foundation to what happens later on. A lot of people don't want to do that. A lot of people don't want to hear them in chronological order because it's just too boring. But that's the best way to understand the situation from a scientific perspective, from a historical scientific perspective, is to look at it in a chronological fashion. And that's why I try to bore people to death with it. I try to walk people through every single boring detail, and I try to talk about everything because I am a goddamn autistic, bipolar nerd stuck in the body of an athlete, and I'm trying to talk about all of it, all of the, all of the, all of the things, all the things, and I want people to know each little thing and how it all started. Before we talk about the newest stuff, you got to talk about the older stuff. You got to talk about the backstory. You really got to know the backstory. And if you don't know the backstory, then you're just gonna take it out of context. And you gotta understand my character. You gotta understand my character. And in order to understand my character, you gotta understand my my life, my life story. And it's very critical. Otherwise, you're probably gonna miss mischaracterize me, which is understandable but also wrong. It's understandable to mischaracterize somebody. People do it all the time. And that's how you take people out of context. You begin with mischaracterizing them, putting words them in their mouth. It's easy to do, and people do it all the time. People put words in other people's mouths. They try to read into things and try to assume. You try to assume, like people assume they know what the other people's intentions are, and it's very difficult to know what's inside a person's mind, a person's brain, or what is inside them, what is inside them, their brain, their mind, what is their intention. It's very difficult to know, but you can look at their life and try to figure out what kind of person they are. You can try to find a baseline, and that is one of the values of having a goddamn autobiography is you can, psychologically speaking, anthropologically speaking, when you study, you think about this, you study psychology and anthropology and sociology, you learn a lot about people and stuff, and you can learn about other people through yourself too, or vice versa. You can always go back and forth. But when you do that, since I am a doctor, not really, but let's just say I'm a doctor, hypothetically, theoretically. I mean, I know a lot of stuff and I study a lot of stuff, so it's like, think about this. So, psychologically, think about this. Like, when you study, like, you study people, so when you study people, uh, like you can establish some baseline. A baseline is an average, and you can try to figure out. You can try to figure out what kind of person somebody is. Thank you, Mercoet, for the 9 roses. That's a lot of roses, Mercoet. I'm trying to talk about the oatmeal fake news. And so you want to try to establish a baseline, because otherwise the only thing you're going to do is some kind of goddamn character assassination that is going to be able to take you to a place that is too excessively inaccurate, and that's unfortunate, but that's what people do all the time. People do it all the time. They do it all the time. You can you can lie about people if you're able to um, mischaracterize them, and so it's easier to do that if you mischaracterize them. That's why it's critical to establish who a person is, what kind of person they are, what are their intentions, what are their dreams, what are their goals, what are their motives, what are their dreams. Like seriously, what are their dreams, what are their motives, in order to try to figure out what is right and wrong, what is true and what is false. You have to establish the character. Otherwise, you're in the dark and you're just going to make up stuff. And that's what people do. That's what people do. What do you say? What do you say to that? You say, I had a thought. If your server is full of trolls spreading fake news, if you are not there anymore, then how can you defend yourself? If you invite people to it, yeah, okay, so you're just asking the questions that I'm pretty sure you've asked this same question multiple times for many years. Looks really familiar. Again, I don't think people need to understand your full life story to get to know you and your point of view, man. Again, keep it simple and just deal with the topic at hand, and the rest will follow. And to that, I say, here's what I say. I say that I disagree. I mean, I mean, to an extent, it's somewhat true. What you're saying is a little bit true, but also a little bit inaccurate. What do you say? What are you trying to say? Filmmaker and music writer? Fun. Yes, that's right. That's right. Thank you. Thank you. Who are you? Ang? Welcome. What do I call you? Ang? Welcome to the live stream. So, think about this. Okay, so I try to keep it simple, but at the same time, you have to also, at the same time, go deeper. You also do music as well. That's good. That's good. I'm trying to do the best of both worlds, and I believe that I gotta do both. I gotta do simple, and I gotta do complex, and I gotta go back and forth, and that's what I'm trying to do. Nice work. Have a good day, man. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm going to keep up the good work, and I'm going to continue to do what I do. And I believe strongly in what I do. And I know that some people, they're going to say what they say. And no matter what I say, they're going to continue to say what they say because that's what they do. And it's a waste of time for me to even counter it. But I still try to counter it sometimes. And you say I have a good portion of your high blood. I think I have a pretty good understanding of you. Ask me anything. Uh, I mean, I could ask you questions, but the problem is I haven't even finished it. So, so you are not gonna know stuff that I haven't even written, and there's a lot of stuff that I haven't even written yet, and I'm still like I sort of outline my life a little bit sometimes. I do try to do some I try to do some deep dives a little bit in my blog and in my videos. I try to do some deep dives and I do some outlining of my life and so I go back and forth and I've covered every year of my life online a few times. I've I've mentioned every year of my life, and that's a little bit, little bit valuable. Uh, Excuse me, I'm breathing through my mouth again, and I don't have a chin, but I do try to go deeper. I do try to go deeper a little bit. Hello, bum, bro, stop yapping. Okay, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so it's like there are some there are some gaps in the story of my life a little bit here and there, and I feel like it's still a mess when I try to write about my life. Even when I'm outlining my life, there's still some gaps, and it's also badly written. A lot of the stuff is badly written, very hard to follow. Even for me, it's very, very difficult to follow. For anybody who's trying to read my autobiography, when they're reading, trying to read the story of my life, there's a lot of gaps, or a lot of times where I don't explain what I'm talking about. A lot of times I don't really unpack it. I don't really unpack it. Whatever I'm talking about, I might just reference something. I might say a few random words. I might, like inside baseball. I do a lot of inside baseball. I do a lot of just like referencing. Like for example, the biggest one that I say now is Kathy stole my bike, and you might know that. Some people might know what I'm talking about when I say, for example, when I say Kathy stole my bike, Kathy stole my bike in Vietnam, Kathy stole my bike. That's an example, and that's like inside baseball. That's like a a reference to something, to a story. But then I do that with other stuff too, and I sometimes I say other random words like the Lego mark, and it's very difficult to follow, and so I'm I s- I still got a lot of work to do. Can you shout out my friend Jamie Colin? Um, hello, Jamie. Is that a bad word or something? Or is that a real person? I don't know. Is, did I say something that I'm not allowed to say? Am I gonna get banned? It will be fun. Ask me anything. I read like 40 of your articles. The problem is I can ask you a question that you're not gonna know. Um, like I can ask you to describe my life in January of 2008. That would be a little bit difficult. For example, uh, I mean, I did write a little bit about it, a little bit. I could probably write a little bit more about my life in January 2008, for example. I mean, you could probably say a little bit about it because it is a little bit documented, badly written, but still there's a little bit of information about it currently if you know where to look, but it's probably in a few different places. So it's a little bit fragmented what I wrote and what I said about my life in January 2008. And some of it is indirect, and some of it might be like, I don't think I have a monthly outline for that month yet. I might, but it's probably not going to be really good. But that would be one example. Um, do you want to try to write about this? Is that that one might be a little bit easier. That might be the easier question. Like 2008, January 2008 is a little bit easier. A little bit easier than another year would be a little bit more difficult because literally I haven't even finished. So you're not gonna know stuff that I haven't even talked about. So it's like, what's the point? I mean, you might know, some stuff about me because you might have read a few things, but you're not gonna know it all because there's just too much. Because I have thousands of articles, I have thousands of things, I have so much stuff that not even AI can read it. If you try to Google it or you try to ask AI about me, they struggle. They struggle a lot. And so it's like there's probably like some highly advanced AI that can scan me a little bit better than the public AI versions out there. But that's about it. I am thinking about banning more trolls. So are you saying that you can't do it? Is my question too difficult? That was like the easiest question I could give you. 2008, January 2008. Just tell me about my life in January 2008. You don't want to do that because it's too difficult, huh? It's probably too deep for you because I don't think you read that far into it. I know so much about myself because I am me. I am me. So I'm not gonna ask you like a super duper easy question. But even January 2008 is pretty simple compared to another question. Like a few other questions would be a lot harder, a lot harder. It'd be a lot harder than January 2008. So does that mean you can't do it? You give up? You give up already, Mister Steeple? People in the steeple? You give up, people in the steeple? Have you given up already, people in the steeple? People in the steeple, both to answer my question with the oatmeal trivia. I asked him or her, probably him, a question. A question or an alien, probably a male. From what I'm hearing, you are saying that your writing is hard to follow, but then you say that people need to read it to get the context. You have to see how it might be tough um, to desire. You're trying to have fun. What you're trying to have fun? I doubt that. I doubt that. I doubt that. I say what you want, but I asked you a question. You didn't know the answer because you don't really know a lot of oatmeal trivia. You probably know surface level trivia, which is cool in a way, but kind of boring to me because it's surface level and it doesn't really impress me if you know surface level stuff. Two guys talking online, not no, I don't really care about that. I'm not really, I'm not really excited about that. It's only beneficial if this like for example, if this stream can help people, it might be worth my time. Otherwise, I'm not here to just like, hang out with people. I don't live stream. I mean, it might be a little bit entertaining. That's nice, but I don't know if I still don't know if I really want to be a, a, a st- an entertainer. I mean, I think I am an entertainer, and I've always been conflicted about it, but I always wanted to like I mean, at least part of me wanted to be a little bit more than just an entertainer. And not only am I an entertainer, but I'm like a certain type of entertainer. The like some of the people see me as a joke in a bad way. And that's unfortunate. But at the same time it's true that that's how people see me. And then I started to play into it. And that's what happened. That's what happened. I started to play into it. And not all the time, but sometimes try to I would try to play into the character. that they made me into. You are always trying to you're always so rude to me. What have I done to you? I'm just trying to be friendly and make friends. No need to be beep. I disagree with your how you're trying to frame this, and I don't really know who you are, but I know what you sound like. I know I know that I think I know who you are, but at the same time, you could still be anybody. You could be anybody, but I mean, I'm pretty sure I know who you are, but at the same time, doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter. So, regardless of who you are, I know that I asked you a question and you couldn't answer the question. And that's pretty lame, pretty difficult, pretty stupid. Unfortunately, that's unfortunate. But it was expected. I didn't think you would be able to answer the question. Maybe you don't really want to answer the question. Oh well, that's okay. I was thinking about blocking you too. Let me think about that. Still thinking about that. Oh man. But, I still got a lot of work to do. And I probably I probably need the practice when I'm doing stuff like this. Even even if this is a waste of time. I gotta do this. I gotta try to do this. For the record and everything else. I gotta try to do whatever I'm doing and everything else that I do. I gotta try to do that. And I gotta let people know some stuff. And I'm gonna let people know some stuff. And I'm gonna say some stuff. But a lot of people are not gonna hear it even if they're listening, because it's so difficult. Da 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 da, so difficult. To understand, to understand. But I try to communicate a little bit, even though people think I'm a goddamn low cow troll, and some of the people that follow me are goddamn low cow trolls, but they call me a low cow, and I probably am a low cow, but at the same time, I'm not really a low cow. And I say I'm a low cow, but I'm not really a low cow, but I am, but I'm not. But I am, but I'm not. I know you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying. I'm not really a low cow, but even if I say I'm a low cow, does that make me a low cow? Not really. But people believe that I am. Some people believe that I am, and they're always gonna believe that I am. So you say you you are nicer to people online. If you ever think if you were nicer to people, they wouldn't troll you, man. Um, I don't know what you did in January 2008. I was just trying to be your friend. Ooh. All right. So here's what I'm going to say to that. I'm going to say that you're probably lying and you're probably trying to play me. You might be telling the truth, but it's very unlikely. Very unlikely. So I don't believe you and I should probably block you or something. I asked you a question and you failed. How am I trying to play you, dude? Hmm. Hmm. What do you think, man? What do you think? You couldn't give me any oatmeal trivia? You're like, oh, I got so much oatmeal trivia. Where's the oatmeal trivia? Where's the oatmeal trivia? You say that you got oatmeal trivia. Where's the oatmeal trivia? Are you gonna give me oatmeal trivia? I want some oatmeal trivia. Ooh. I wanna, I want some oatmeal trivia. Are you gonna give me some oatmeal trivia? You don't like my question? My question was too difficult for you? But okay, if you were actually trying to get to know me, you'd be the one asking me questions about me, not me asking you questions about me. You have it. I think you have it twisted. I think you have it backwards. I think you have it a little bit backwards. It's very difficult to talk about fake news because if you even try to talk about it, you can get banned because the AI can read the word and they can say, ah, the guy said the word. The guy said the word. We gotta terminate this now. We're gonna terminate this now because he said the magic word. He said the magic word. Even if even if you're against whatever word it might be, and even if you try to be very specific, sometimes a website in the app can take you down. They can take you down. They can take you down. Are you a random guy on the internet? I don't know. What do you think, Mister Uh that Chip King? You tell me, man. You tell me. Are you a random king on the internet? So, anyways, it's like it's very difficult to talk about stuff because you can get hit if you say a word or whatever, like you can definitely get taken down. You can get hit and taken down. And it happens to a lot of people. It happens to a lot of people. And everybody knows this. A lot of people know this already. I don't have to tell you this. You already know this. A lot of people already know this. A lot of people who are honest about it, they know this is true. What I'm talking about is true. Some people will lie and say, oh, it's not true. It's not true. Oh, it's not true. What you're talking about is not totally true, but it is. But it is. And you know it's true. Yeah, sorry, I didn't know about you. About what happened to you in that year. Fair enough. You said you went to New York. When was that? I went to New York right after high school. Do da boop da do 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 do. That's what happened. Uh, I was thinking about I was thinking about all the different things I wanted to do. Born in '85, been online since 70. What 90? What did I say? 75, 95, 95 or 97. Which one was it? I used to say 97, and then I said 95. I don't know. Gradually, and I started thinking about traveling the world, and then I started traveling a little bit. Started traveling a little bit, like Seattle, California, Idaho. Growing up, I started thinking about it. Wanted to travel the world. I wanted to do all these things that I talk about. I wanted to be the best everything and anything. I really thought about it. I really thought about it. I was thinking about all these things as I was growing up, and I was thinking about all these things in my life. Wanted to do all these things in my life. I wanted to be Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson. I wanted to be the best actor, Robin Williams, Will Smith, Adam Sandler, all these people. I wanted to, be a missionary. I wanted to be Billy Graham. I wanted to just like travel the world and help people and find ways to help people. I wanted to just do all these things and travel, and I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about all the things I really want to do. Like what do I want to do? I want to be a musician. I want to be a filmmaker. I want to do this. I wanted to do that. I wanted to design video games. And the list goes on and on and on. Astronaut, and I would think about it on and off all my life since I was very young. And I talk about this sometimes, and I think about it, and then especially during my senior year in high school, I'm thinking about it even more than before. I'm thinking about it more and more and more. And I'm like, okay, where do I go after high school? What do I do? What do I do? And the normal question everybody asks, do I take a gap year? Uh, I thought about it. Some people do it. Some people take a gap year. They take a break. But I really wanted to do something, and I would get phone calls from people, different colleges, come to my college. Sometimes it would be a girl, college student, and they'd be like, "Yeah, come on over, come to my school, come to my college, come on, we want your money, we want your money, of course." And so I'm thinking about the different places, and then I ended up going to New York, and I knew some of the people that were going there. I had friends from high school and youth group, and they were going. There were like two or three or four, and so I ended up going there, and I was there for 2 years in New York, and then I went to West Virginia. So what do you say? The internet is super over moderated. It's annoying. January '08. You were in Hawaii. And I was not a counselor at that time. I was a counselor in the summer. I was a camp counselor at a few camps. I started doing camp counseling the winter of 2005 in New York, and I was working at the camp they have at their school, their Bible college, Bible Institute, Bible college. They have they have some different camps in New York that they run, and so I was a counselor uh, there in New York for 2 summers, 2 winters, and then I went to West Virginia for college, and then I came home back to Oregon and worked at a Salvation Army camp for 2 summers in Oregon, and and also a third year in California. So 3 years with the Salvation Army, working at their camps in Oregon and California in the summer, and so I worked there in the summer 2007, and they tell me about their program in Hawaii. I ended up I ended up applying. I ended up getting in because of Lincoln Hawk, mostly because of him. He's the one that recommended. Otherwise, they were not gonna take me. They were very close. Rob Nolan was like he was thinking about not taking me because at that moment he saw me he saw me at a retreat, a Bible retreat, WYI. Rob Nolan saw me, and he was thinking that he didn't really want to take me because I was wearing sunglasses and I was known as the oatmeal guy or whatever, and I was like a crazy weirdo, whatever. And I ended up calling him, and I was all serious instead of crazy, and he ended up taking me mostly because of Lincoln Hawk, who he knew very well, and their family. And so I ended up going to Revolution Hawaii and being part of their team with the people there, people like Martina, Martina Pound, and and Jeff Walters and Blake Webb and um, Jess Franklin and Corey Gauss and Kealona, Kealoa, Keo, Kealun. How do I say his name? Kealo, Kealoa. No, I forget how to say his name. Irvine. Kale. I used to be able to say it. And so I'm with them, and it's a 9-month program, and we're missionaries in Hawaii. And in January, uh, it's a little bit interesting because some of them didn't um, return after the Christmas break. Some of them decided to stay in California. They had things to do, important things to do, and so the team was a little bit smaller in January, and that was a little bit disappointing. And I was interacting with Lincoln, and then he was trying to find me a wife. And then we went to a Salvation Army retreat called the boot camp, and that's what they call their. It's like a weekend retreat in California. I think it was in Malibu or something. It was close to. I want to say it was close to Los Angeles, or it might have been closer to Long Beach or something else. Was that one of their camps? I think it was at Camp Craig's, probably one of those camps that they have that the Salvation Army runs. And so that was one of the biggest things that happened was flying over to California in January 2008, and then just for a weekend, being part of that. But then that was kind of crazy because I was in one of those phases in my life where, I mean, it's hard to explain, but like I was being more and more um crazy at a time, crazy and crazy. I was being more crazy in a way. I was being more um arrogant, cocky, overconfident, uh a variety of these things that I'd rather not say, but I'm saying it. I'm like literally right now. I'm trying to talk about it. Even though if you asked me at the time, I'd probably try not to say. I don't know what I would say exactly, and I don't want to say that I was unaware because I was sort of aware of some of it. But like for example, during one of the meetings that like one of the like Bible meetings that they have at the retreat in California in 2008, I'm like sitting down and there's a speaker. It's like a seminar. There's like hundreds of people, and we're all, listening to the speaker on the stage, and the guy was like making some jokes, and then I was laughing really, really loud. Or maybe sometimes it wasn't a joke, and then I started laughing, and everybody could hear me, and I would do this kind of thing sometimes in my life. I would do this kind of thing, and then people would look at me, and I didn't really care. I didn't really care if people were looking at me, but I would laugh really, really, really loud, and everybody could hear me. And then Lincoln, Lincoln's brother Fulton Hawk wasn't happy about it, and then he was cussing him out because Lincoln was the reason why I was part of their team in the first place. And so then Lincoln's trying to talk to me about it. And other people were talking to me about it too, but it was like one of those things. One of those, it's not the only thing, but it's one of those things where it's like they looked at me and they were like, "What kind of person are you?" Because I would do things that was so out of the box, and it might be okay if you are on the stage. If you're, like in a movie or something, it might be acceptable. If you're the star of a movie, you might do something crazy because you're the star. But like, if you're not the star and you think you are, and you're like going around and you're doing crazy stuff and people are looking at you, What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? That's more of a open-ended question, but it's one of those things where I would I would become a performer in a way. Not to say that I was fake, because I wasn't really fake, but it was like I was over the top, and I still am in a lot of ways. I try to tone it down sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Like like for example, what I'm doing right now is what I'm doing right now, but it's like this is not real life for the most part. I'm I sometimes, like online for the last few years especially, I've been trying I've been trying to tone it down a little bit. Ooh, some people might say, "Oh, not enough, not enough." And I'm not saying all the time, but sometimes in my life, on the internet, at least, on the internet, I try to tone it down. But like especially offline, I don't I don't I don't rant. I don't talk and talk and talk. I'm very normal. I'm very normal offline. But then like people think like a lot of people think I'm crazy offline too because I act crazy on the internet. I act crazy on the internet, so I must be crazy all the time. And then sometimes I think about that and I think, okay, should I try to convince people online that I'm not crazy, or should I just play into it? And over the years, I kind of go back and forth with that. I think about it. I think about it sometimes. I write about it, I talk about it, and I sort of go back and forth between these extremes where sometimes I'm thinking to myself, I want to be as crazy as possible. I want to be I want to be as crazy as possible. And then sometimes I'm thinking to myself, I want to be I want to be as boring as possible. I want to tone it down. I want to be as boring as possible. And I go back and forth like a bipolar person, like a crazy autistic uh bipolar nerd stuck in the body of an athlete. Hee hoo. And that's like part of the story of my life, going back and forth between crazy extremes online and offline. Not so much offline, mostly online. I mean, like I said, I was crazy at times offline too, like in Hawaii, for example. And even in Vietnam, I was a little bit crazy sometimes, but then I started toning it down while I was in Vietnam. I started toning it down and I started not going crazy all the time. So, what do you say? Um, let's see, what's the last thing that you said? Uh, January 2008, and is it cool if I go and make us make supper and eat? Will you still be here in an hour? Uh, Crazy is cool if it's funny and people are comfortable with it. Yeah. So the answer to your question is the answer is let me think about this. I'm gonna answer the question in about 10 seconds. Let's see. See. Uh, See. I'm looking around at everything that I'm doing. What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? I'm gonna say. Here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say that There's so many things happening, and I probably messed up today. If I dare try to watch this live stream, I'm probably gonna be upset because there's always going to be problems where I mispronounce a word and I'm not clear and then I don't understand it when I'm listening to myself, or my eyes are down here and I look ugly as usual, and nobody understands, and maybe I don't say all the words that I need to say and I skip a few words, like when I'm writing, when I'm talking, and so there's probably going to be a lot of typos, probably going to be a lot of problems, and that's going to be unfortunate. Probably going to be pretty unfortunate. uh Too bad, you know. But I did I mentioned a few things. um I said a few things in this live stream today. I thought it was good in a way. I mentioned a few stories that were somewhat good. I think badly explained, but I think I tried a little bit. I think I sort of got my words out, and I sort of outlined a few stories about my life, and I don't know how much of it was new to the internet. Um, some of it might have been new. I don't remember totally how much of that I've already said, and it's very difficult to say. It's very hard to say. So many things going on, but the story will continue, even if even if the oatmeal uh, even if the oatmeal comes out of the bowl and gets all over the place. But you can only do what you can do in life. Until next time, you gotta eat more oatmeal, man. Gotta eat more oatmeal. Otherwise, Kathy's gonna steal your bike in Vietnam, and Kathy's gonna steal your chin and make you breathe out of your mouth forever, like me.